Welcome to Artscape. I'm your host, Bill Harris, and we have a great show for you today. With me today is local artist Tracey Clarke. Tracey, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So before we get into your amazing, amazing paintings, which I love, let's learn a little bit about you. You're not from this area, right?
No, I grew up in the Tidewater area, so pretty close.
Okay. Tell us your early beginnings in art. I know I read on your website that you carried around a little binder of horses when you were little.
I did. I was a typical in love with horses little girl, and so I would get books from the library and then take them home and copy them.
Now how old would you be?
Oh, 6 or 7, 8.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was singularly focused on horses at that point in my life. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So 6, 7, 8, you're drawing horses, always into art through middle, high school?
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't until I got into high school that I had a great art teacher who really encouraged me. She saw something in me and really encouraged me to pursue art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after high school, you then go to
Atlanta College of Art.
Atlanta College of Art.
Right.
And how was that?
It was great. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
It was, equally kind of difficult and good at the same time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So now at this point, are you still interested in horses and animals, or was it all different things?
No, I was pretty academic at that point. I didn't really have a set focus of.
So do you think also at this point, you're going to be an artist? Or do you think?
Hopefully.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is the end game here? This was what you wanted to be?
This is what I wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So what happens then? You graduate college?
I left school and, didn't do art. I became a veterinary technician, did that for 10 years. And when I married Craig, my husband, he really encouraged me to leave my job and to do art full time.
That's sort of interesting that, as a little girl you're drawing horses. You go to college, then you go into veterinary.
Right.
And now you're drawing animals. They're
right.
always... So what is it about animals?
Animals to me are... that's a good question. They just have I think a presence about them and an otherness about them that I really will particularly prefer over painting the figure, doing people.
Yeah.
I've always just loved animals and been drawn to them. So.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you ever go in to do any figurative things or landscapes without animals?
Well, sometimes landscape. I like to do some abstract landscapes occasionally, but doing this work is really what I love.
Yeah, that's impressive though that you stuck with the animals.
Yeah.
All these years
Yeah.
from a little kid. Yeah. Now, you have a home studio?
I do.
Yeah. How often do you paint?
Most days.
Yeah, most days, every day?
Most days, every day, even if it's just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because we had talked earlier about your paintings. They take quite a while.
They do.
How long does one of your average paintings take?
Oh, boy. It takes several months, depending on, but I also rotate several paintings sometimes at one time, and I'll have a few that are starting that are, so.
Right. Now, these are in oils, right?
Yes, oil.
And is that do you do anything other besides oils, or?
That's my primary
Yeah.
medium.
Yeah, me too. I love
choice.
oils.
Yeah.
Well, what is it about oils that you love so much?
Well, I think the argument that the quality that you get with oils is, it just can't be compared to other mediums.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I know a lot of people don't like the drying times and things like that. Actually, I like that. I like being able to paint a little bit, get away from it, and then come back. And I always sort of see my mistakes. So what influence did you have in art? What are the other artists that?
Well, early on, anything surrealistic. I love surrealism and realism.
Magritte, somebody like that.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, you can certainly see that.
Yeah.
Now, you paint every day. For how many hours a day do you paint?
A maximum for me with this kind of work, because some of it's so detailed and tedious, 4 to 5 hours a day is maximum I can do.
You're a morning painter? Or
I like to think I'm a morning painter.
Yeah, get up, paint for a few hours.
Yes, yeah.
I think I'm sort of the same way. After 6 hours, I'm done. I can't do anything after 6 hours.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the paintings a little bit later, but there's something a little, I don't want to say dark about them, but there's certainly something dark about them.
Sure.
I'm sure you get that a lot.
Sure.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Do you see them that way?
Well, later we'll talk about, but I do. I do kind of have some themes that are running through the paintings that are a little dark and maybe with some struggle and trauma a little bit. Sure.
Always, or is it sometimes you have nice ones and
No, well, I don't think any of them I would call particularly nice,
Right.
but yeah, I'm more drawn to things that are serious, I think. And
Do you think that's sort of cathartic? You just sort of...
yeah, in some ways.
Yeah. Do you think that, without being too personal, do you think that
No.
sometimes you could substitute your own feelings and
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot without you really knowing that.
So, yeah, I think I agree, and I know I do the same thing. I think that's interesting for people that aren't that familiar with art to look at it that way. Some people may look at it just as other animals, but I think if they look at it as human emotions and things like that, I think that's more interesting, and I think they'll probably be drawn to it a little bit, or make a better connection
Yeah, I
to
think
it.
so too.
Yeah. I noticed that often, with the land animals, there's also birds in it. You see that sort of a combination. Not all of them, but a lot of them have a land animal plus a winged creature in
Yeah.
it. What do you think that's about?
There's something about pairs for me, and I don't know why I choose birds a lot of the time for those pairs, or like I guess like that painting over there. I don't know. I just love birds. There's something about them that's.
But it's always
really
interesting.
beautiful.
You have a sort of a land creature, often a big creature with a smaller bird.
I don't guess I've ever noticed that.
Is that right?
before. Well, yeah, it's not on purpose. I don't
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
That's funny. There's something about that I really like. I guess it creates some balance. What is it about the pairings?
That's a new thing for me. I think early on I did a lot of sort of solitary subject matter, and I don't know. There's something about relationships that are bonding or togetherness that I like about putting two animals together or three animals together. And
Sort of animals that are different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because often they're animals you wouldn't necessarily see together.
Right. Yeah.
How do you decide what you're going to paint? We'll get into that a little bit more later, but you just say, hey, look, it's time to do, I'm interested in maybe doing a deer painting, or I think I want to do birds, or they just strike you randomly?
Yeah, well, sometimes I have a word that'll come to me and it'll have an image with it. Sometimes I'll see something and it'll kind of trigger some sort of image of a painting that I might want to do. It's
Right.
pretty random how it happens.
Do you think sometimes the trigger may be something not animal related, but then you sort of,
Sure.
through your prism, will make it sort of
Sure.
an animal?
Sure.
Okay. Hey, well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk more with Tracey about her specific paintings. We'll be right back with Artscape.
Can you tell?
Can you tell?
Does it look like I'm fighting a disease?
Fighting.
Fighting for my life.
Like my life expectancy is shorter than yours?
There's no outward sign.
But we're battling every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Worrying, testing.
Treating.
Fighting.
Fighting diabetes.
Diabetes has been called a silent epidemic. It's time to call it out for what it is. This is Brett Michaels. Join us. Choose to share, act, learn, and give. Help us stop diabetes.
Hello, I'm Tom Selleck. Each of the more than 58,000 names inscribed on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. represents a story of courage, honor, and loyalty. They remind us of Americans who have sacrificed through the generations. Join me in a new campaign to build an education center in Washington to ensure that the values of those who sacrificed are never forgotten. Thank you.
Okay, guys, ready? Here we go! Let's smile and brush our teeth twice a day, every day. Let's smile and floss our teeth once a day, every day. Let's keep that smile a happy place on your face with good nutrition and dental visits. Let's smile, let's smile, let's smile, let's smile!
Welcome back to Artscape. I'm your host, Bill Harris, and we're here with Tracey Clarke. Tracey, I was on your website, and I see your paintings, or your website is really titled New Mythology. So all your paintings are new mythology. Describe that.
Well, what I do with New Mythology, I create these paintings, and I also write short narratives to go with the paintings that are not super descriptive, but they're just enough to kind of give you a little bit of a taste of what might be going on. I really like people to kind of enter into that and come up with their own thoughts about it and what they think is going on. And they're only bits and pieces. So I had people say to me, "Why don't you write a book?" And I don't want it to be a cohesive.
Right.
It's just glimpses and bits and pieces. And I love pairing those images with words and descriptives like that.
Because it is sort of loose enough where you sort of interpret it in your own way. Do you remember any of, sort of roughly, would you remember the? They're really interesting, and they're on your website. If you go to the website, click on your paintings.
Yeah, well, I do have, there's a Bird War, this kind of series that I've sort of started doing. It's ongoing, and Diamond behind you is part of this Bird War, so these two factions of birds, and he's kind of the instigator of this big feud that goes on.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit about that, and anyway, he's kind of the ringleader, I suppose, of...
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think that really takes people into a different area that they otherwise wouldn't see. We talked about sort of the darkness in some of your paintings in the last segment. Tell me about this one right here behind me. That's one of your newer ones. It's not on your website yet. One of the things that jumps out at me right away at it is his eyes open and the reflection, and it's closed. Yes.
Well, mice in the new mythology kingdom are prophets. Okay. So I haven't written the narrative for that yet, but that's kind of the basis for that painting is they're prophets, or they have some sort of foretold coming in the kingdom. So and that one too, that one also is, that guy over there is a prophet as well, that mouse. So.
You know, it's interesting, and we noticed this hanging the show a little bit ago, that really light or really dark. Like, for example, the one right behind you there, the lamb, the geese, and the hummingbirds, really white. Yeah. And I know, being an artist, that's a really difficult painting to do. Yeah. It's really difficult to pull that off, get all the tonal changes in just white. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that one. That's
a new painting as well. That's part of the kind of a new direction for new mythology. But I'm not sure. I think he's going to be a king or a prince of some sort.
The lamb.
Yeah. With his court there.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of times people, when they see your work, they miss that? Like, they maybe look at it and they see, okay, there's a lamb or there's a deer. I mean,
yeah, particularly with that painting, people aren't sure what that is. It's interesting to hear people say what they think that is. It's actually fish eggs. I've heard all kinds of different
that's interesting.
It is interesting.
I mean, I bet if a lot of go, it's a rocket ship taking off.
Or why are his legs bleeding, things like that.
So why are they fish eggs?
Well, she's the shepherdess of all fish life.
Okay.
So she's kind of the source of fish life.
And what's interesting is the little stars around it almost look like bullet holes too.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah, almost like she's in target.
I also never noticed that either. Those are actually her thoughts. So.
When the people say that, you're supposed to just nod your head and say, okay, that's fine.
Right.
Let them interpret it.
I love to hear that, though.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I got to tell you a funny story. These two paintings behind me were at Liberty Town back in the fall, I believe, and I teach an oil painting class there in a room that's adjacent to the gallery. My students kept going out, looking at these paintings, and say, "Wow, these are amazing! How do we do this?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I can't do that either." So anyway, you really put the screws to me a little bit for my class. So
good.
So good. So I'm going to read this off of your website, and it says, we talked about it a little bit before. It says, each painting begins in my mind with a word, a string of words, or a clear image that appears like a dream. I am an oil painter. Do you think of yourself as an oil painter, or do you think of yourself as an artist, or both?
I think of myself, I think I struggle sometimes with thinking of myself as an artist, to be honest with you. But I am an artist,
Why is that?
I don't know.
Yeah?
I think a lot of artists struggle with saying that. But
do you think that comes from I think people look at artists and think, well, that can't be what you really do. That must be something you do on the side.
Oh, yeah.
That can't be a real job.
Right.
But in reality, locally here it is. There's a lot of
job.
Artists like ourselves that this is what we do.
Yeah.
You think that's it?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's taken a while for me to get there.
Yeah, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. This makes it official now that you have you're on TV.
Okay.
So, this is just a curious question I had. Back when you're working in your studio, what kind of music do you listen to? Do you listen to music when you paint?
Sometimes I do listen to music. I have to be careful about that because I kind